The locksmith was already packing up his van when I pulled into the driveway Sunday night. For a moment I sat there confused, watching him load his tools while my boyfriend stood in our doorway, arms crossed. Then it hit me. Those weren't repairs. Those were new locks. I should have known when he didn't call. 3 days of silence after our fight, and I'd thought I was winning. Thought I was teaching him a lesson about taking me for granted. Turns out I was the one getting schooled. But I need to go back to Thursday night, to the fight that started everything. Or maybe I need to go back further, to when I first started seeing Trevor behind Ryan's back. When I first convinced myself that what Ryan didn't know wouldn't hurt him. Ryan and I had been together for 4 years, living together for 2 in a small house in Portland, Maine. Not Oregon. Everyone always assumes Oregon. Maine, with its long winters and tourist summers, and the kind of small-town feel where everyone knows everyone else's business. Or at least, I thought they didn't know mine. The fight was about dishes. It's always about something stupid when it's really about everything else. Ryan had cooked dinner. He always cooked, said it relaxed him after managing the brewery all day, and I'd promised to clean up. But Trevor had texted, and I'd gotten distracted, and suddenly it was midnight and Ryan was standing in the kitchen looking at the sink full of pots. "I asked you to do one thing," he said, already washing them himself. "I'll do them now," I said, not moving from the couch where I was texting Trevor about our plans for the weekend. Ryan was going to his brother's bachelor party in Boston. I was supposed to visit my sister in Burlington. Perfect alibi. "That's not the point, Jessica." "Then what is the point?" "God, they're just dishes." He turned off the water, dried his hands slowly. That should have been my first warning. Ryan never did anything slowly unless he was really thinking. "The point is, I can't rely on you anymore. You say you'll do something and you don't. You say you'll be somewhere and you're not. You're here, but you're not really here." "What's that supposed to mean?" "It means you're checked out. Have been for months. Always on your phone, always somewhere else in your head. When's the last time we actually talked? Had a real conversation?" I felt my face flush. Not with guilt. I was too far gone for that. But with anger. How dare he notice? How dare he call me out? "Maybe I'm bored," I snapped. "Maybe coming home to the same thing every night isn't exactly thrilling. Maybe I want more than dinner and Netflix and your brewery stories." His face did something I'd never seen before. Not anger, not hurt, recognition. "Then go," he said quietly. "Find whatever it is you're looking for." "Fine. Maybe I will." "I mean it, Jess. If you're that unhappy, just go. Take the weekend. Figure out what you want." It was too easy. He was supposed to fight for me, beg me to stay, promise to be more exciting. Instead, he was opening the door. "You know what? I will. I'll go to Burlington early, spend some time away from your negativity." "My negativity?" He laughed, but there was no humor in it. "Okay, have a good weekend." I packed a bag while he watched from the doorway, threw in my new lingerie, the stuff I'd bought for Trevor, a secret thrill packed right on top of my alibi, my good perfume, the dress that Ryan used to love before I stopped wearing it for him. "I'll be back Sunday night," I said, brushing past him. "Take your time," he said. "Figure out what you want." I should have heard the finality in his voice, should have seen the way he looked at me, like he was memorizing my face, should have noticed he didn't say "I love you" when I left. But I was too busy texting Trevor that plans had changed, that I had all weekend, that we could get that hotel room in Portsmouth like we'd talked about. Trevor picked me up at a gas station 2 towns over. He drove an Audi, wore expensive watches, worked in commercial real estate. Everything Ryan wasn't. Where Ryan was steady and warm, Trevor was flashy and exciting. Where Ryan wanted quiet nights at home, Trevor wanted cocktails at rooftop bars and weekend trips to Manhattan. "Finally," he said when I got in his car. "A whole weekend, no sneaking around." "No sneaking around," I agreed, though we both knew that was exactly what we were doing. The hotel in Portsmouth was perfect. Waterfront views, champagne on ice, the kind of thread count that made you want to stay in bed all day. Which we did, mostly. "You should leave him," Trevor said Saturday morning, tracing patterns on my bare shoulder. "Move in with me. I've got that new condo in the seaport." "Maybe," I said the way I always did. "I'm serious, Jess. This sneaking around is getting old. I want you all to myself." But did he? Or did he just want to win? Trevor was competitive about everything. His car, his deals, his women. I sometimes wondered if half his interest in me was just because I belonged to someone else. "Let's not talk about that now," I said, changing the subject the way I always did. We spent Saturday shopping in Portsmouth, eating at expensive restaurants, pretending to be a real couple. I posted photos on Instagram, carefully cropped to hide Trevor, tagged as being in Burlington with my sister. The lie came so easily now. "Your boyfriend never checks your social media?" Trevor asked over dinner. "Ryan doesn't even have Instagram," I laughed. "Says it's all fake. He's so analog." "His loss," Trevor said, raising his glass. "To the digital age." We drank too much that night. Champagne at dinner, cocktails at a club, more champagne back at the hotel. I felt powerful, desired, free. Every text from Ryan I ignored felt like a victory. Every hour that passed without calling him felt like reclaiming my independence. "You're different this weekend," Trevor said as we tumbled into bed. "More present?" "I'm always present. No, usually you're worried about getting caught." Checking the time, making excuses, but not now. He was right. For the first time in 6 months of sneaking around, I wasn't worried. Ryan had told me to go figure out what I wanted. So I was. Sunday morning, I woke up to silence. No texts from Ryan, no missed calls. The last message was from Friday afternoon, asking if I'd made it to Burlington safely. I'd answered with a thumbs-up emoji and nothing since. "He's probably too drunk at the bachelor party to check his phone," Trevor said, watching me stare at the empty screen. "Yeah, probably." But Ryan didn't drink much. A beer or two at most. He said getting drunk was like voluntarily giving up control, and he valued clarity too much for that. Trevor drove me back Sunday evening, dropping me at the same gas station where he'd picked me up. It was getting dark. Gray September twilight that makes everything look faded. "Think about what I said." He kissed me goodbye. "About moving in." "I will," I lied. The weekend was already starting to feel like a dream, something separate from my real life. The drive home was only 15 minutes, but I spent it practicing what I'd say. How I'd apologize for the fight, but not too much. How I'd be cool and distant until Ryan apologized, too. How I'd mention Burlington just enough to make my alibi solid. I was so busy rehearsing, I almost missed the locksmith's van in the driveway. Ryan was standing in the doorway when I got out of the car, and something in his posture made me leave my bag in the back seat. He looked calm. Too calm. "What's going on?" I asked, trying for casual confusion. "Why was there a locksmith here?" "Changed the locks," he said simply. "What? Why? Did something happen?" "Yeah, Jess." Something happened. He pulled out his phone, swiped to a photo. "Want to explain this?" It was a screenshot from Trevor's Instagram story, the one he'd promised not to post. Us at dinner Saturday night, my face clearly visible, laughing at something. The location tag, Portsmouth, New Hampshire. My mind raced for an explanation, a lie, anything. "That's not... I can explain." "Don't." He held up a hand. "Your sister called yesterday, wanted to know if you were okay since you weren't answering her texts about dinner plans. Imagine her surprise when I said you were visiting her in Burlington. Ryan, Then I did something I've never done before. I looked at your Instagram, saw all those Burlington tags. Did you know Trevor tagged you in his story? Did you know his profile is public?" My legs felt weak. Amateur mistake. I'd been so careful for 6 months, and one weekend of feeling invincible had destroyed everything. It's not what it looks like, I tried. It's exactly what it looks like. He stepped aside, revealing boxes stacked in the hallway. My things. I spent yesterday packing. Your stuff's all there. The things we bought together you can have. I don't want any reminders. You can't just kick me out. I live here. Your name's not on the lease. Never pushed to add it because you said you didn't care about paperwork. His voice was steady, businesslike. Funny how that works out. This is illegal. You can't just change the locks. Actually, I can. Checked with a lawyer yesterday. You're not a tenant, you're a guest. And you've been staying elsewhere all weekend, so clearly you have somewhere to go. The casual cruelty of it knocked the wind out of me. This wasn't my Ryan, the man who brought me flowers every Friday, who rubbed my feet during movie nights, who still opened car doors after 4 years. How long? He asked quietly. How long have you been seeing him? I could have lied. Should have lied. But what was the point now? 6 months. He nodded like he'd expected that. Since the Providence conference, when you came back different. You knew? I suspected. You started hiding your phone, changing passwords, having emergency girls' nights that your friends knew nothing about, but I loved you too much to believe it. The past tense hit like a slap. Ryan, please. Let's talk about this. It didn't mean anything. 6 months doesn't mean anything. He shook his head. You know what? You're right. It doesn't mean anything. Because what we had meant something, and you threw it away for... What? Excitement? Fancy dinners? A guy with a better car? It wasn't like that. Then tell me what it was like. For the first time, emotion crept into his voice. Tell me why 4 years wasn't enough. Tell me what I did wrong. You didn't do anything wrong. The words tasted like chalk. I wanted more. More? He repeated the word like it was foreign. Well, now you have it. All yours. No more boring boyfriend holding you back. Don't be like this. We can work through it. Couples survive affairs. Couples. Is that what we were? Because couples talk to each other. They work on problems together. They don't lie for 6 months and then take victory lap weekends with their side piece. Victory lap. That's exactly what it had been. I'd felt so powerful driving away Thursday night, so in control. Now I was standing in what used to be my driveway, locked out of what used to be my home, begging what used to be my boyfriend. Where am I supposed to go? Burlington's nice this time of year, or Portsmouth. I hear they have great hotels. Ryan dash. I'm done, Jess. He started to close the door. Your stuff's all there. Take it and go. Leave the key on your way out. I don't have a key anymore. You changed the locks, remember? Right. Then I guess we're all done here. The door closed. The lock clicked. The porch light turned off. I stood there for maybe 10 minutes waiting for him to come back out, to relent, to fight, to do something other than dismiss me like I was nothing. When Mrs. Patterson next door peeked through her curtains for the 3rd time, I finally started loading boxes into my car. 4 years of my life, reduced to what I could fit in a Honda Civic. The kitchen stuff we'd picked out together, the throw pillows I'd insisted on, the photos he'd already removed from frames, leaving just empty wood and glass. It took 3 trips to get everything. Ryan never came out, never watched from the window. The house might as well have been empty. I drove to my friend Katie's place, the only person I could think of who didn't know about Trevor. Told her Ryan and I had a fight, needed some space. She let me crash on her couch, made tea, didn't ask too many questions, but I couldn't sleep. Kept checking my phone, waiting for Ryan to crack, to text, to call, to fight for us the way I'd wanted him to on Thursday. Nothing. Monday morning I called in sick to work and drove past the house. Ryan's truck was gone. He'd be at the brewery. I still had the garage door code. Maybe if I could just get inside, leave a note, make him understand. The code didn't work. Of course it didn't. Ryan was nothing if not thorough. When he made a decision, he followed through. No loose ends, no second chances. I sat in my car outside what used to be my home and called Trevor. "Hey, babe," he answered on the second ring. "Missing me already?" "Ryan knows." He changed the locks. "I need somewhere to stay." Silence. Then, "What do you mean he changed the locks?" "He found out about us." "Your Instagram story." "He packed all my stuff, changed the locks. I'm homeless." "Shit. Jess, I mean, that's rough." I heard it in his voice. The backing away, the recalculation. "You said I should move in with you." "I did. I mean, I do want that, eventually. But this is really sudden. And my ex has the kids this week. They can't know about, you know." "About your mistress?" "You're not my mistress. Look, let me call you back. I'm walking into a meeting." He hung up. Never called back. That's when it hit me. Really hit me. I'd lost everything for a man who wouldn't even give me a couch to sleep on. Traded a partner for a player. Gave up home-cooked dinners for expensive restaurants where I was just another reservation. I tried Ryan once more that afternoon. It went straight to voicemail. His message had changed. Used to be both our voices, telling callers we couldn't come to the phone. Now it was just him, professional and distant. Katie let me stay for a week before gently suggesting I look for my own place. The apartment I found was depressing. A studio in Biddeford, 40 minutes from work, with water stains on the ceiling and a radiator that clanged all night, but it was what I could afford without Ryan splitting rent. The first night there, I sat on the floor. I didn't have furniture yet. And finally let myself check Trevor's social media. Private now. All of it. His LinkedIn still showed his real estate firm, but everything personal had been locked down. I tried calling him from a different number. His assistant answered, said he was no longer taking personal calls at the office. That's when I found her. Marina Walsh. His last name was still hers on Facebook. The profile picture was a sunny beach shot of her and 2 kids. His kids. A wife. My stomach churned. Of course he was married. Her most recent public post was savage in its simplicity. When you think you're special, but you're just another cliché. Thanks to the anonymous tipster who opened my eyes. Anonymous tipster. Ryan hadn't confronted Trevor. He'd gone straight to the wife. My phone rang. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but desperation won. "Jessica?" A woman's voice, cold and formal. "This is Marina Walsh. I believe you know my husband." I don't know what to say." "Good. Then you can listen." Her voice was steel wrapped in velvet. "My lawyer tells me I need documentation for the divorce. Proof of the affair. Trevor's being difficult, denying everything. But you're going to help me." "I don't understand." "Yes, you do. You're going to write a statement, dates, times, places, everything. Or I'll make sure every future employer knows exactly what kind of person they're hiring. Portland's a small city, Jessica, smaller than you think." "That's blackmail." "It's consequences, something you're apparently just learning about." She paused. "The statement. By Friday, my lawyer will be in touch." She hung up. I tried calling back, but the number was blocked. I spent that week writing the most humiliating document of my life. Every hotel receipt I could remember, every lie I'd told. Every time Trevor had promised to leave her. Promises I now realized were as empty as the ones I'd made to Ryan. The worst part was seeing it all written down. 6 months of Thursdays when Ryan thought I was at book club. Saturdays when I was supposedly helping my mom. The weekend I said I was at a work conference but spent in Boston with Trevor. All of it documented, time-stamped, weaponized for Marina's divorce. My sister called while I was finishing it. We hadn't talked since Ryan had exposed my Burlington lie. "I can't believe you used me as your cover," Sarah said without preamble. Do you know how humiliating it was to have your boyfriend call me, confused about dinner plans I knew nothing about? Sarah, I'm sorry. 4 times, Jessica. I went through my calendar. 4 times you told him you were with me when you were with that man. Did you ever think about what would happen when it came out? I didn't think... No, you didn't. You never do. You just take and assume everyone will clean up your messes. She sighed. Mom knows, by the way. Ryan called her too. My stomach dropped. What? He wanted to make sure you had somewhere to go. Even after everything, he was worried about you having family support. That's the kind of man he is. The kind you threw away. I ran into his friend Paul at a coffee shop 3 weeks later. He looked uncomfortable, tried to leave without talking, but I cornered him. How is he? I asked. He's good, Paul said carefully. Keeping busy at the brewery. They're launching that new IPA next month. The IPA we'd spent hours talking about. The one I'd helped name. Does he ask about me? Paul's silence was answer enough. He's really not going to forgive me? Forgive you? Paul's careful neutrality cracked. Jess, you broke him. You know that, right? The guy who never took sick days has been calling out. The guy who smiled at everyone barely talks now. You didn't just cheat. You made him question everything, every memory, every moment, wondering what was real and what was you pretending. I wasn't always pretending. Weren't you? Every time you said you loved him while texting another man, every time you came home from Trevor's bed and slept next to Ryan. Paul shook his head. He showed me the timeline he made. When you said you were where versus where you actually were, it's impressive in a sick way. 6 months of lies. He made a timeline? He needed to understand, to see it all laid out, to stop blaming himself for not seeing it sooner. Paul moved toward the door. You want to know how he is? He's learning to trust his judgment again, and that starts with staying away from you. Paul, wait. I grabbed his arm. There must be something I can do. Some way to fix this. He looked at my hand on his arm until I let go. You know what the worst part was for him? It wasn't even the cheating. It was finding out from your sister that you'd been using her as an alibi for months. She had no idea. You made your own sister lie for you without her knowledge. My face burned. I'd forgotten about that part. And Trevor's wife, Paul continued. Did you know she called Ryan after she saw the Instagram post? I flinched, hoping he wouldn't bring up that particular humiliation. I, found out recently. Separated, Paul corrected, his disgust clear. Getting divorced. Or he was, until his wife found out about you. Ryan told her everything. Now she's using the affair to go after him in court. You didn't just blow up your own relationship, Jess. You blew up multiple lives. He told me he was single. I started to lie, but the words died in my throat. He hadn't. I just hadn't asked. You didn't ask, Paul said, as if reading my mind. Just like you didn't think about Ryan when you were sneaking around. Just like you didn't consider anyone but yourself. He finally made it to the door. Ryan's moving on. Let him. November came with its early darkness and cold rain. I'd see couples everywhere, sharing scarves, holding hands, being boring together in the best way. Trevor had ghosted completely. Turned out I wasn't so special when I didn't come with the thrill of secrecy. I got a new job in January, marketing coordinator at a small firm in Saco. $15,000 less than I'd been making, but my reputation at my old company was shot. Someone had let slip why Ryan and I split. Probably Paul, maybe my sister. Possibly Ryan himself, though that seemed unlike him. Office affairs became office gossip, and suddenly I was the cautionary tale told at happy hours. Heard about Jessica? Living in some studio apartment now. Her boyfriend changed the locks while she was cheating. Can you imagine? I could imagine because I was living it. I drove by the house once, maybe twice, okay, weekly, just to see. There were new curtains in the bedroom, A different car in the driveway sometimes, a blue Subaru I didn't recognize. Garden beds I'd neglected were cleaned up and mulched for winter. One Saturday in February, I saw them through the window, Ryan and the auburn-haired woman from the grocery store. They were cooking together, him chopping vegetables while she stirred something on the stove. The easy domesticity of it gutted me. That used to be us. That should have been us. But I'd wanted more than quiet Saturday dinners. I'd wanted excitement, passion, the thrill of being desired by someone new. I'd gotten all of that with Trevor. For 6 months I'd felt alive, special, chosen. Now I was heating up ramen in a microwave that only worked if you held the door closed, in an apartment where the couple upstairs fought every night and the neighbor's dog barked at shadows. I'd traded home-cooked meals for takeout containers, traded a partner for a player who disappeared the moment things got real. He was moving on, living, thriving, even. Meanwhile, I was in my studio apartment, eating takeout for one, swiping through dating apps but finding everyone lacking. Too flashy, like Trevor. Too steady, like Ryan. Too something. Too nothing. The last time I saw Ryan was at the grocery store in December. I was buying wine and frozen dinners. He had a cart full of real food. Vegetables, fresh bread, the good coffee we used to splurge on. There was someone with him. A woman with short auburn hair and an easy laugh, wearing one of his brewery hoodies. She was pointing at something in the freezer section, and he was smiling. Really smiling, not the polite one he'd worn the last months with me. He saw me first. I know because when I looked up, he was already walking away. No confrontation, no drama, just a man who'd decided I no longer existed in his world. "Ryan!" I called out. He paused but didn't turn around. The woman looked back, confused, then understanding crossed her face. She touched his arm gently, said something I couldn't hear. They had the kind of easy communication that took us years to build. "I'm sorry," I said to his back. "For everything, you deserved better." "Yes," he said simply. "I did." The woman didn't look at me with jealousy or anger. Worse, she looked at me with pity, like I was something broken in aisle 7 that someone should clean up. Then he was gone, leaving me standing there with my bottle of $12 wine and my microwave pasta, finally understanding what I'd thrown away. They say you don't know what you have until it's gone. But I knew. I knew exactly what I had every time I lied about where I was going, every time I deleted texts, every time I compared Ryan's quiet love to Trevor's flashy attention and found it lacking. I knew. I just thought I was too special for consequences, thought I could have the stability and the excitement, the home and the hotel rooms, the partner and the player. That Sunday night, standing in a driveway that was no longer mine, I learned different. Some keys can't be unturned, some locks can't be picked, and some men, the really good ones, only give you one chance to break their heart. I had my weekend of freedom, my trial run at a different life. And by Monday, my key didn't work because I'd already chosen to leave. Ryan just made it official. The locksmith's van driving away should have been my first clue that Ryan had learned something during my absence. How to fix what was broken. I just never imagined he'd do it by removing me.